Manchester United-linked Zinedine Zidane reaches agreement for shock appointment. Report: Manchester United have long been linked with Zinedine Zidane, who may be about to return to management after a considerable hiatus. Long-term Manchester United target Zinedine Zidane has agreed his shock return to management. That's according to reports that state that the legendary French figure is ready with another job in the dugout after 4 years in the wilderness since his last post, and with Manchester United boss Ruben Amorim in a precarious position. The Red Devils have won just once this season in 4 games, suffering a humiliating exit from the League Cup, with their Portuguese boss hanging by a thread. Despite the Manchester Evening News claiming that Amorim is of no immediate threat of the sack, a report from Football Insider claims that United are already eyeing up replacements, with Unai Emery's position at Aston Villa said to be uncertain following a difficult transfer window in the Midlands. 3-time Champions League winning coach Zizou has long been linked with United post, but admitted in 2022 that he was unlikely to ever succeed Ole Gunnar Solskjaer when he couldn't speak fluent English. Reports have recently claimed, however, that Zidane is about to take over from another former Manchester United boss, in the form of Jose Mourinho. After it was reported by Turkish publication Sabah that the 1998 Ballon d'Or winner has engaged in talks with Fenerbahce, fellow Turkish outlet Oxygen has claimed that a preliminary agreement has already been struck. Such a decision would directly contradict Zidane's assertion, however, that, "I know that there are coaches who go to clubs without speaking the language, but I work in a different way." Since he doesn't speak Turkish, 442 understands that while Zizou, who formerly held the record for being the most expensive player of all time, was long admired as an option by the Glazer ownership, Sir Jim Ratcliffe's Ineos operation wishes to take the club in a different direction and don't have the same interest in such a star name. Regardless, it's long been assumed that Zidane himself is looking to make his return to management with the French national team once his former teammate Didier Deschamps steps aside. United returned to Premier League action this weekend against Manchester City. Former Real Madrid boss Zinedine Zidane could be heading back into management, just not where most fans expected. The French icon, long rumored as a possible Manchester United boss, is reportedly close to taking a role in Turkey. After 4 years away from the dugout, the Frenchman might soon trade rest for the restless life of a touchline again. United's own struggles add spice to the story. Ruben Amorim's side has won just once in 4 games, crashing out of the League Cup in the process. While the board insists his job is safe, reports continue to swirl about possible replacements. Zidane, a 3-time Champions League winning coach, has always been on that list. According to Turkish outlet Sabah, Zidane has held talks with Fenerbahce. Another report from Oxygen even claims that a preliminary agreement has been reached. If true, this would be a shock turn. After all, Zidane once insisted, "I know that there are coaches who go to clubs without speaking the language, but I work in a different way." He does not speak Turkish, making the potential move even more intriguing. This apparent deal also rules out, at least for now, any Manchester United connection. Sources close to Ineos reportedly do not view Zidane as part of their long-term vision. Still, his name continues to hover around Old Trafford whenever the pressure rises on Amorim. Zidane's next step has often been linked to the French national team job once Didier Deschamps departs. But this latest development suggests he is ready to return earlier than expected. For United fans hoping to see Zidane in red, it may feel like a nutmeg gone wrong. All eyes on the ball, only to be caught off guard by a move in another direction. A Manchester United star who has been compared to Zinedine Zidane is reportedly considering leaving the club this summer after being left on their bench for the first 2 games of the new season. As a result, TalkSport are now reporting that the 20-year-old is open to leaving United in the final week of the transfer window. Mainoo has yet to agree a new deal with the club and his current contract is due to expire in 2027. A Manchester United star who has been compared to Zinedine Zidane is reportedly considering leaving the club this summer after being left on their bench for the first 2 games of the new season. As a result, TalkSport are now reporting that the 20-year-old is open to leaving United in the final week of the transfer window. Mainoo has yet to agree a new deal with the club and his current contract is due to expire in 2027. United legend Paul Scholes has previously likened Mainoo to Zidane, telling The Guardian last year, "He's the nearest thing I've seen to Zidane in taking a ball, receiving the ball, cruising past people. I heard there was a young lad holding his own against Case Miro in training, sometimes better than him. but you have to go out and do it. The first time I saw him I remember that calmness. The way he received the ball with confidence. I just couldn't believe such a young player could do that. That calmness didn't come for me as quick as it did for Kobe. I'd say it came 5 or 6 years into my career. That's why it amazes me. He's so relaxed, the game's so easy to him. It's almost like poetry in motion. I let Mason Mount play there because we want to score a goal, and when I changed I felt the team need to return to one holding midfielder near Bruno. So he just needs to fight for the position with Bruno, as it should be at Manchester United. Sometimes he's going to play with Bruno, but at the moment he's fighting in training with Bruno for the position. Zidane's next step has often been linked to the French national team job once Didier Deschamps departs. But this latest development suggests he is ready to return earlier than expected. For United fans hoping to see Zidane in red, it may feel like a nutmeg gone wrong. All eyes on the ball, only to be caught off guard by a move in another direction. Man United told to get Sean Dyche if Zinedine Zidane refuses to replace Ruben Amorim. Charlie Austin has told Manchester United that Sean Dyche should replace Ruben Amorim if Zinedine Zidane isn't an option. The Red Devils boss has had a difficult start to the season, with just one win in their opening 3 Premier League fixtures. However, it was their shocking Carabao Cup defeat by Grimsby Town that brought intense scrutiny to the 40-year-old's managerial status. On top of a dismal debut campaign in Manchester last season, where he led the club to a lowly 15th-placed league finish, Amorim entered this season knowing that he was under pressure to produce results after their elimination at the hands of the League Two outfit. Ex-Premier League striker Charlie Austin admitted on Sky Sports News that the humiliation of the result should see Amorim out of a job before claiming Zidane should be their top target to replace him. "I think he's got to go. If it's my decision, I'm going after Zinedine Zidane," the former Queen's Park Rangers man said. "I'll try to convince him to come to Manchester United. It shouldn't need doing, but at this moment in time you do." Ultimately, there are a different set of managers that you've got to be looking at because the situation Manchester United are in. I would take Zidane, but is he the right man for the job and how we see them? Probably not. Having played under Dyche for 1 season at Burnley, Austin claimed his former manager would also be an ideal appointment for United thanks to the organisational skills he'll bring to Old Trafford. In my honest opinion, you have to look at the job Sean Dyche did at Burnley, what he did at Everton, Austin added. "For me, he stabilized the club. At least he's gonna put structure in there. Zidane is the top of the tree for me, but what the club needs now is structure because that is something they do not have." I know Manchester United fans will look at me saying, "He said Sean Dyche." No, they need structure, and that is a man who will come in and make the team a lot better than what we are all seeing. With Amorim's side returning to action on Sunday against Manchester City, it will be just the second game played by United since he took aim at his entire team after the defeat by Grimsby. He ominously said, "With all respect, when you play against a 4th division team, it's not the goalkeeper, it's everything. It's the environment. It's the way we face the competition. Everything." With that performance today, my players spoke for me really loud. Zinedine Zidane once wanted to sign 4 players for Manchester United if he had ever been given the Old Trafford hot seat. The Frenchman was unquestionably one of the greatest players of his generation on the pitch, but off it, he cultivated quite the reputation, in no small part due to his 3 Champions League titles with Real Madrid. Since leaving the Santiago Bernabéu, Zidane's name has been linked with several high-profile jobs, including the French national team, Chelsea and of course the Red Devils. His name is still being mentioned to this day, as the pressure continues to mount on Ruben Amorim. However, when he was touted as a potential replacement for Jose Mourinho in 2018, he had a short list of 4 stars he wanted to bring with him to the Theatre of Dreams. According to a report from the Mirror at the time, Zidane was one of the options the United hierarchy were keeping tabs on should they decide to replace Mourinho. As it happened, the Portuguese coach would be sacked shortly after, but it was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer who took the job on a permanent basis following an incredible run as interim manager. Had things gone differently and the Frenchman actually taken to the dugout in the Northwest, it is believed that the 4 players he would have targeted were then Real Madrid midfielder Toni Kroos, Bayern Munich duo Thiago Alcantara and James Rodriguez, and Paris Saint-Germain goal machine Edinson Cavani. 3 of them would eventually move to the Premier League, with the anomaly being Kroos, who stayed in the Spanish capital before retiring in 2024 off the back of a double-winning campaign which saw him collect the last of his 6 Champions League titles. Zidane also had previous experience working with Rodriguez at Madrid, though the star-studded nature of the attack at the time meant the Colombian couldn't find his feet. While a reunion may have been on the cards in an alternative universe, the playmaker instead eventually joined Everton but failed to make the desired impact at Goodison Park. Thiago would also move to Merseyside, joining Liverpool after they had claimed their first Premier League title in 30 years. While his technical quality was clear, the physicality of the league placed too many demands on the Spanish international's body, and he would suffer frequent injuries before calling it a day. As for Cavani, he would actually join United in 2020 on a free from Paris Saint-Germain. Though fitness issues meant he wasn't always